All right, we have come to the end and we are working on our final culminating experience, which is the debate. Now, you are going to be picking a moral dilemma and you're going to be arguing both sides and picking a winner. All right, might seem kind of big right now, but don't panic. It's very easy because you've been doing this all semester and it will come to you. Might take a little bit of thinking, but that's okay. So as you know, most of my assignments will come in 3 parts. You're gonna have a topic, your vocabulary, and then the final assignment, as this will have as well. Now, the first part of this is gonna be the topic. And with the topic, what I need from you is gonna be either 3 TV episodes, not just shows, episodes very specific, or 3 movies, all right? Or you can do, a combination of both, but I only need 3. And for each one of these, whether it's an episode or a movie, I'm gonna need a moral dilemma for each one of them, okay? So you're gonna pick any 3, again, TV episodes or movies, and then you need to tell me what the moral dilemma in any 3 of those is, okay? With that, next, in any of those, you need to tell me what's the for and the against argument, all right? What are you arguing for and what are you arguing against of the moral dilemma, and then who is going to be the winner, which side is going to win in the end, okay? I know my hands probably seem weird when I do this, but you get the general idea, okay? So in that topic, I give you an example here of how I want it to look, so that way you just kind of have a general idea. It's pretty simple. The goal here is, the reason why I have you choose 3 is because oftentimes students might pick one that they're just really gung-ho about, but it won't work for the assignment. And I do this so that when you get to the final assignment, you're like, oh, this is much easier. I'm here to help, okay? So think about that when you're giving your topic. You can let me know which one you prefer. That is totally fine. You're like, I'd prefer to do this. And it's okay. I will let you know if it works or not. If it doesn't, I will suggest another option of the 3 that you have given me, okay? You know me, I'm always giving the feedback, okay? Now, when you go to give the vocabulary, I need you to remember that you also need to use fallacies and use the fallacies correctly, okay? That being the case, when you give me the vocabulary, it's going to be 10 vocabulary words, and at least 3 need to be from chapter 9. The rest, all over, that's totally okay, but 3 need to come from chapter 9. Okay, and then you need to let me know whether the vocabulary word is for or against the moral dilemma, and you need to explain how that word is being used, okay? You're gonna see why when you go to put the project together, you're like, oh, that's all, I already did everything. That's why I have you do this. Make sure that if you use rationalization, you have to use one of the very specific rationalizations from chapter 2. Remember, fighting fire with fire, I'm only doing this for you, blah, blah, blah. One, okay, of those particular rationalizations. So if you use the word rationalization, you're not going to get credit unless you actually use one of the 9, okay? And then the final debate assignment itself, pretty easy peasy. I give you literally the outline of everything that I'm looking for. I give you examples. I know examples are not perfect. I'm giving you what I got. But make sure you go through all the different steps. Step 1, is where you formulate your argument. So you're going to have obviously your first page, which is, whatever your main page. You're going to have, let me scroll down here, a clear explanation of the film. You're going to have 3 minutes of usage of the film. I recognize sometimes that's hard. If you have a link, that'll help. Not always do the links work in the PowerPoint or the Canva. That's okay. You can add a link into as you submit. Just work with me, talk with me about it. Let me know if you're having any struggling with that. Make sure you use very specific quotes from the episode or the movie that validates your point. So if you're going to use a quote that helps validate the whole point of the argument, whether it's a for or against. Make sure you're organized. And if you're going to be using quotes, you got to use signal phrases. Introduce the information. Don't forget, you have to use sources. The book is one of them, all right? And then you have to use other sources, outside sources, to validate your points, okay? So the obvious. Make sure that you have well-supported arguments for each side. Don't just do bullet points. I know it's not ideal for, PowerPoint to put a bunch of writing on it, we're trying to get information out. We don't care necessarily how pretty it is as much as it is the information. Okay, so anyway, go ahead and take a look at the examples. Please make sure that you show me which is the for and which is the against, or what's the pro or the rebuttal, right? So show me which sides are which, and it's going to start with, here's the moral dilemma, here's the for, here's the rebuttal, here's the for, here's the rebuttal, and then your conclusion. Okay, so at least 2 or 3 rebuttals at the very least, okay, because you really want to argue, utilize the vocabulary, show me the argument, and use the fallacies. Okay, so how are the fallacies being used in the show, okay, or in the movie? Okay, if you have questions, please come to me, let me know. I really hope that helped. I give you all the grading criteria and everything in the assignment, but if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, and again, I give you an example on how to cite everything. Okay, you're good to go.